Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel IGCSE Biology Help. In today's video, I'm going to be solving the February-March 2024 Paper 4 Variant 2 for the extended students. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like my videos so you can receive more content like this. Let's start solving. Question number 1 says, enzymes are catalysts. Describe what is meant by the term catalyst. Catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of a reaction, not permanently changed by the reaction, or they are not used up in the reaction. So when they say describe what is meant by the term, you have to actually write the definition, and all the definitions are written in the syllabus, so you have to write them exactly as they are written in the syllabus so you can get the full marks. Double I says enzymes are proteins. State the names of the chemical elements found in all proteins. So you're going to say carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and don't forget nitrogen, because nitrogen, if you write nitrogen alone, it's going to give you 1 mark. But of course, don't forget the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. All of these will give you 1 mark, but the nitrogen alone can give you 1 mark. So if you just write down carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, you will get 1 out of 2 marks. Lipase is an enzyme found in the human digestive system. Figure 1.1 shows the effect of pH on the percentage activity of lipase. So over here we can see that as you change the pH, there is actually a difference in the activity. We can see that there was no activity in pH 3, and then it started increasing from pH 4 until it reached its peak or its maximum over here at pH 7. So this means that it works its optimum at neutral pH, which is 7. So after number 7, it started decreasing until there was no activity over here, and it became basically like denatured. So this is the description. If you want to explain, then you're going to say why this happened. So let's see how you're going to answer. So they said describe and explain. So in this question, you're supposed to write 3 points. It's worth 6 marks. So you have to write 3 points description, and then you have to explain those 3 points that you have described. So first of all, for the description, you're going to say there's no activity at high or low pH. So we have here high or acidic pH over here, and over here at the alkaline there is no, as I said, it got denatured. So this is the first thing you can say. And also you can say that the activity increases and then decreases as the pH increases. So you can also describe the whole thing as it increases and then it decreases. So you have to say that the optimum is at pH 7. So this is basically over here, as I said, it is a neutral, it works in neutral conditions, which is pH 7. And then there was a steeper increase between pH 5 and 6. So we can see over here that from pH 5 it increased very rapidly. From pH 5 until pH 6, we can see there is a big difference between 5 and 6. So there is another point you can write down. You can write up to 3 marks. You're going to get the mark. If you want to write more, then it's optional, but you're going to get the full marks if you only write 3. Lipase enzyme is active between pH 3.8 and pH 10.2. So as I said, it started at pH around 4, which is 3.8 over here, and then it started increasing from there, and then it decreased at 10.2, which is here. Now, for the explanation as why all of this happens, you have to say there is a change in pH affects the shape of lipase. So, as I said, if you change the pH, there is going to be a change in the activity, so it does not all stay the same in different pH. It will react differently to different types or different values of pH. You can also say that at pH 7, most enzyme substrate complexes form. So yeah, over here, as I said, you can also say that this lipase enzyme, it works its best or its maximum at pH 7, which you just said in the description. You can also say that it works in neutral conditions. And you can say that the active site is complementary to the shape of the substrate. This is a result of the enzyme substrate complexes. You can also say at low or high extremes of pH, enzyme is denatured. The substrate molecules can no longer bind with the enzymes. So it says over here, complete the word equation to show the substrate and products for lipase. So we know that lipase breaks down fats and oils, and then it produces 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. You can write that down, or you can just write fatty acids and glycerol. Now, lipase acts in the duodenum. Explain how the body provides a suitable pH for lipase activity. So you're going to say that there's bile produced by the liver, or they are released from the gallbladder. So you can either say from the liver or gallbladder, you're still going to get the mark. Produces alkaline mixture which neutralizes gastric juices and stomach acids. So bile is alkaline, and we know that if you mix alkaline with acidic solution, then you're going to get neutral solution, which is around pH 7. So it's like not acidic but not alkaline or basic. So this is like just in the middle. So this is what is needed for the lipase action. As we saw over here in the diagram over here, it worked at pH 7 at its peak. So this is why there is bile produced. 2 says figure 2.1 shows a cross-section of a human heart. AI says on figure 2.1 label with an R the position of the right ventricle. So over here I've drawn it down over here. This is the right ventricle, and this part is the ventricle. State the names of the structures labeled A and B on figure 2.1. So A over here, this is the atrioventricular valve, which controls the blood entering to the ventricle, and the seminular valve over here in this area. Triple I says complete the sentence about blood vessel C. So this is blood vessel C, this is the aorta. So blood vessel C transports blood from the left ventricle to the rest of the body. So this is the aorta. Figure 2.2 shows a cross-section of part of a heart that has incomplete structure. So over here we can see that there's actually incomplete structure, which is it's missing the septum. So this is a big problem actually. There is a hole in the septum, and left atrium joined to the right atrium may cause oxygenated blood to mix with deoxygenated blood. So basically we know that the left ventricle, it has oxygenated blood, and the right atrium, it has deoxygenated blood, because the blood is coming from the rest of the body deoxygenated and it needs to be oxygenated again. So this area, the septum, it separates both of them. So this is a problem. If there is a hole over here, then both of them will mix and there will be low oxygen in the heart. So this is low oxygen, in the blood. So this is a problem actually, leading to less oxygen in the blood pumped out of their left ventricle, which causes less oxygen to reach this tissues. So this is question 2b. Now let's have a look at 2c. So over here we can see that there was an increase in the aerobic respiration from beginning second 0 until the 100th second, and then it started to become constant over here. So we can see that starting from around the second 20, there was a large increase in anaerobic respiration, and then it gradually decreased until it reached again its constant over here at around second 100. So you can say that both anaerobic and aerobic respiration increase at the start, and anaerobic energy increases more rapidly. Anaerobic then decreases after 20 seconds. At 60 seconds, the percentage of energy from aerobic equals anaerobic. So yeah, we can see over here that there is an intersection between the aerobic and the anaerobic. So this intersection means that both of them are at the same value. So this is also a point you can write down, and you can also say that aerobic increases but remains high, aerobic doesn't increase, anaerobic So this is just a mistake over here, write anaerobic instead. Double I says state the balanced chemical equation for aerobic respiration. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 it will produce 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O. So basically it's going to use up the glucose and the oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. So this is the opposite of the photosynthesis equation. Now, during anaerobic respiration, an oxygen debt can be built up. State the name of the chemical that causes oxygen debt. This is lactic acid. It's produced in the muscles and it is also produced in the liver. 3a, figure 3.1 shows a growing plant. The plant is growing in the dark. I says state the name of the growth response shown by the plant shoot in figure 3.1. This is actually gravitropism or geotropism. It's the same thing. Double I says explain how the growth of the plant shoot in figure 3.1 is controlled. So this is they're basically asking how does it grow upwards like that. So it is all depending on oxygen. Oxygen is the reason why it goes up like that. Oxygen made in the shoot tip diffuses or moves away from the tip, and then it accumulates on the lower side of the stem, leading to stimulation of cell elongation. So this is basically why it goes up like that. B says plant roots growing towards water is another growth response. State 2 uses of water in a plant. Of course, the main use is photosynthesis, of course, so that it can make its own food, and it's also used as a solvent in plants, and it is also used as a transport medium, which means water is used to transport other things in the plant. C. A student measured the root length of a bean seedling over a period of 120 hours. Figure 3.2 shows the results. Calculate the percentage increase in root length between 48 hours and 96 hours. Give your answer to 2 decimal places. So first of all, you're going to be getting the value of the root length from 48 hours, and also you're going to be getting the root length from 96 hours. So 48 hours, you're going to be drawing a line until it meets the curve, and then you're going to be drawing a line like that towards the y-axis over here. So this is basically 9. You're going to be counting down all the small blocks, and this is going to give you 10 blocks. So 10 divided by 10, basically it's 1. So each block represents 1. So this is 9. Now for the 96 hours one, you're going to be drawing a line like that until you meet the curve, and then you're going to be drawing another line towards the axis. This is basically 25 over here. So you're going to be minusing or subtracting 25 from 9. This is 16 millimeters. This is the increase in length from 48 hours to 96 hours, and then you're going to be dividing the 16, which is the old value, minus the 16 is the increase in length, so you're going to be dividing it over the old value, which was before the increasing, and then you're going to be multiplying by 100. This is going to give you 177.77. This is never ending, so you're going to be estimating it to 2 decimal places. It's going to be 177.8%. So this is the formula for percentage change if you want to use it in any subject. 4 says figure 4.1 shows the concentrations of female sex hormones during the menstrual cycle. A says identify from figure 4.1 hormone R. Hormone R over here is actually estrogen, and S is the LH hormone. So if you actually have an idea of how the menstrual cycle diagram looks like, then you will know, if it looks like that, then it's the progesterone, for example. If it looks like S over here, this is the LH. So you should know if you understand that diagram. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to actually identify the hormones. In some questions, they don't label the hormones or anything. Over here, it's labeled, but in other questions, they don't do it at all. So you have to memorize how each hormone looks like on this diagram from your notes, or you can get a picture from the internet. B says State the day or days of the menstrual cycle shown in figure 4.1 when ovulation is most likely to occur. So ovulation is most likely to occur from day 13 to 16. This is because the LH increased very rapidly in this area. So this is why. And the shedding of the uterine lining occurs. This is from day 1 to 8 over here. So describe how the concentration of progesterone would change during pregnancy. Give a reason for this change. So concentration of the progesterone increases at the peak after day 24, to thicken uterine lining, to help implantation of the egg, and to prevent ovulation. So this is why it changes this way. State the sites of production of progesterone during a menstrual cycle and during pregnancy. So during a menstrual cycle, it is produced only in the ovary. Now, during pregnancy, it can be produced in the ovary and also in the placenta. So both of these places, they can be produced in. E says, describe the role of FSH in the menstrual cycle. It stimulates ovaries to release estrogen, and it also stimulates eggs to mature in the ovary. 5 says, figure 5.1 shows part of a monkey flower plant. AI says, state 2 pieces of evidence visible in figure 5.1 that show that the monkey flower plants are pollinated by insects. So if you know some signs that this is pollinated by insects, but it's not visible in this picture, then your answer is going to be wrong. It has to be shown in the picture. So the first thing that I notice is that they are spotted over here. They use petals, they are spotted so that they can attract the attention of the insects, and also they have large petals. This is also to attract the attention of the insects. So you have to say again, you have to say it is in bold lettering, so that it means that it's very important that you say that they are visible in the image, not just any features of an insect pollinated plant that you know from the syllabus. So now for question II, the monkey flower plant in figure 5.1 reproduces sexually. Describe the advantages and disadvantages of sexual reproduction for monkey flower plants. So advantages, this is basically the monkey flower plant reproduces sexually, so they're asking about the advantages and disadvantages of sexual reproduction basically. So advantages says increases variation, and this is because there is random coding of the genes, and then it increases ability to adapt to changing environment. This is because there is different combination of genes that will form, and there is biodiversity, unlike asexual reproduction where it's just a copy of its parent. Ability to colonize a new habitat makes the population less susceptible to a disease or a pest. This is because they are different. Each one of them is different, so that if there is one type of plant that is affected, then not all of them will be affected. Only some of the plants will die, not all of them, because they have different genetic makeup. Now, disadvantages requires 2 parents. This may be a problem if the plant is in an area where there is no nearby plants to pollinate it. Requires pollination and takes longer or cannot quickly take advantage of favorable conditions. So this is the disadvantages of sexual reproduction. This is a general advantage and disadvantage of the sexual reproduction. B says monkey flower plants were introduced to Europe from North America about 200 years ago. Scientists measured the leaf area of 5 monkey flower plants growing in Europe and 5 monkey flower plants growing in North America. Their results are shown in figure 5.1 and table 5.2. So as we can see here that the plants growing in North America, they are actually shorter than the ones in Europe, because we can see that there's a difference between plant number 1 and plant number 1 in North America. There is this one in Europe, it's 310, and over here it is 285. So it's basically much taller. So the maximum like length that the Europe plants have is 390 over here. Meanwhile, the plants in North America, they only, like, the maximum they reached was 315. So there is a difference, of course, and there is a question coming up about this thing. So using the data from table 5.2, calculate the mean leaf area for plants growing in North America. Give your answer as a whole number and include the unit. So this is very important. If you actually don't include the unit, they will actually deduct 1 mark from you, even if your answer is correct. So to calculate the mean, you're going to be adding all of the values over here over their amount or their quantity. We have 5 plants, right? So you're going to be dividing all of these over 5. So this is going to give you 301.2, and they said that they want the whole number rounded to their whole number. So this is 301, and you have to write centimeter cubed. Double I says, state a conclusion for the results shown in table 5.1 and table 5.2. Plants in Europe have a greater leaf area than those in North America, as I have explained when I was reading the question. Ancestors of monkey flower plants had a much smaller leaf area. Explain how the monkey flower plants have developed a larger leaf area over time. So this is actually natural selection. Basically, you're going to be explaining natural selection. Genetic variation within the population struggle to survive. So basically, natural selection, it first began when there was a struggle to survive. There was different species that were introduced in an area that made the older species of leaves struggle to survive between the other new ones that were much larger. So they had to change their genetic makeup so that they can reproduce again and survive. So competition for resources and light, this is what made them to change, and greater chance of survival of better adapted plants. So larger leaves are a better adaptation because they can attract more light or resources. These individuals pass on their alleles, and this occurs over many generations. So this is what resulted to the large leaf area that we have today. 6a, figure 6.1 shows part of the carbon cycle in the ocean. Phytoplankton contain chlorophyll. Explain how phytoplankton lower carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere. Phytoplankton are producers. They photosynthesize. They produce oxygen, and they take away the carbon dioxide from the air. So also it requires light energy, which may reduce the enhanced greenhouse effect that we're going to be talking about in another question. Suggest the role of zooplankton in this ecosystem. So zooplankton over here, it's eating the feces over here. So this is basically a decomposer. So you're going to write down decomposer. Triple I says, state the names of the 2 processes that add carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. You can say respiration, combustion, which means burning down fuels or burning down anything. So if you burn anything, it will produce carbon dioxide. And decomposition. IV, describe the effect on the environment of additional carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Of course, this is a big problem. This is, first of all, you're going to start off by saying that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and this increases the temperature of the atmosphere, global warming, and there is a climate change. Enhanced greenhouse effect is enhanced greenhouse effect means that there is increased carbon dioxide in the air or the atmosphere, which may lead to increased sea levels, habitat loss, which may cause loss of biodiversity. So this means that when there is enhanced greenhouse effect, this means that the world is becoming hotter. So if it becomes hotter, the temperature, it may lead to increased sea levels. This is because if you have ice glaciers or ice mountains, so this will melt down. All the ice in the world will gradually start to melt. This is because there is higher temperatures, and so it can increase the sea levels because all of the water will drain into the sea eventually. So this may lead to a huge risk of tsunamis or natural disasters, and this may cause habitat loss, which may lead to loss of biodiversity later on. Figure 6.2 shows the pyramid of energy for a food chain in an ocean ecosystem. On figure 6.2, label the trophic level containing herbivores. This is actually in the primary consumers. Herbivores actually eat plants which are producers, so these are in the primary consumers sector. Double I, explain why pyramids of energy usually have fewer than 5 trophic levels. This is mainly because there is insufficient energy to continue or carry on the food chain. So this is because energy is lost at each trophic level by respiration or excretion or edible parts. So basically, the producers, they have, let's say, like they only take 10% of the energy from the sun. So when they take 10% of the energy from the sun, then they're going to transfer this 10% onto the trophic levels. So for example, 10% of the energy that the plant has, the primary consumer is going to get only 10% of the 10% that the producer has. So it's gradually going to decrease until it becomes zero. There is no sufficient energy or enough energy to transfer to make another trophic level. So this is why there is fewer than 5 trophic levels. State 2 advantages of using a pyramid of energy rather than a pyramid of biomass to represent a food chain. So pyramid of energy actually really shows the actual energy transfer. It shows how much energy is. So for example, you're going to see a pyramid that is this wide, and then in the primary consumer it's going to be maybe this small. This is because, as I said, only 10% of the energy is transferred. So this means that energy is lost in the way. It can be lost in respiration, in movement. Some parts of the plant are not edible for the animals or whatever that are eating them. Allows ecosystems to be compared. So this is also an advantage of pyramid of energy. C. The oceans contain fish stocks that can be managed as a sustainable resource to provide food for humans. State what is meant by the term sustainable resource. It is a resource that is produced as rapidly as it is used up so that it does not run out. Double I, fishing can be managed to promote the conservation of fish stocks. Explain one way that fishing can be managed to conserve fish stocks. So I wrote all of the ways that can be used. This is very important, this question. It comes a lot in the exams, so you have to be familiar with at least 3 or 4 of these ways. So first of all, closed seasons, it allows fish to breed. This means that they may ban fishing in a certain time of the year, because this is the fishing season where they will breed together. This will if people fish in that time, then all of the population will not increase or grow, so they will close fishing in that time of the year. Education encourages people not to overfish, so basically they're going to be educating people and young people and everyone that is going to fishing about the consequences of overfishing and the problems associated with that. And protected areas, which means that the government or the laws will protect a certain area in the sea or in the ocean from fishing, so that they can allow juveniles or young fish to grow, providing safe breeding grounds. And this can also provide stocks that can migrate and restock other areas. This means that if a fish is growing, there is a large increase in the population of fish in somewhere in the sea, then they can migrate and move to another area in the sea where they can also increase the population there as well. So this is very important to protect those growing populations so that they cannot go extinct. Controlled net types prevents overfishing. So basically they're going to be controlling the types of nets that the fishers use to catch the fish. And if they are large nets, that they are going to allow the small fish to go and the large fish only to be catched. This is the good type of nets that should be used. Controlled mesh size prevents harvesting of juveniles, as I just said. Quotas prevents overfishing and maintains breeding stocks. Quotas is basically like a law that will like tell fishers to like fish only a certain amount of fish in in a certain period of time. So let's say, for example, the government may tell a fisher that you are only allowed to fish up to 25 fishes in one day. If you get any more than 25 in a day, then you may get like a fine, or you may get punished. So this is just an example. This is what means quotas. It is like basically a limit on how much fish they can catch, and monitoring ensures rules are followed. So this is basically the end of the exam. Thank you all for watching, and good luck with your exams.